So I'm back. I've must have done something to Michael because he's left me now. So I'm going to do some ballasting. So we've got the track work's been painted. Got a nice sort of dirty, grimy colour on the sleepers, on the rails. I've got this lovely grey blended ballast, so it's a really nice grey colours. Because it's a bit of a speed build, what we're going to do, instead of just using the normal PVA water mix, we're going to add, I've got my water bottle, but I've added some isopropyl alcohol to the water. What the benefit of that is, the alcohol will sort of evaporate, so it will dry off a lot quicker, so you've got to work faster. And in this little bottle I've got some SkaleScenics basting glue, so it's like a PVA, but it dries a lot quicker than PVA. So the idea is we can get this done and we can work on it a lot quicker. So I know I did a video with Michael earlier in the year, but I'll quickly do some ballasting with you now to show you what I do. So teaspoon ballast, and then just sort of drop it onto the top of down the sleepers. And I'm just going to run along there, and then give it a bit of a tap. And it should sink down. This way you can make a bit of a mess and get it all over the table. And luckily I'm not cleaning it up. I could just go home. Obviously with gluing and ballasting points, you've got to be so careful you don't sort of clog the point mechanism up. So you still want the points to move. But by just tapping it, you're sort of vibrating the rails and the track, and hopefully that's going to sink into all the gaps. Okay. So we've got the ballast down. I've now got a ruler, so I'm going to just give it a bit of a tidy up. So just go along the edges, tidy the ballast up. The key thing with ballasting is get it tidy and neat before you go too far, because it's easy to tidy it up now than it is once the glue's down. But I don't want it to look too tidy, so it's finding that balance of just going around where the check rails are, just clearing any ballast that's here. Just general tidy up, making sure this, so I've got bits of ballast in there, so just got to throw the airbrush through, so the paintbrush through. And getting with a paintbrush is so much easier than trying to get in, try to get your finger in, and because you can't blow it, because if you blow it, it will just go absolutely everywhere, and then you've got to really start again. So it's just carefully manoeuvring bits of stone and getting it into the right place so it looks okay. And if you've got a wagon, you can put a wagon on. Just make sure it's all sort of seems okay. So what I've got is my isopropyl mix with some water. So I'm just going to mist everything. And I've got my glue dropper, which is needle stuck in. This is where it goes flying across the room. And I'm just going to drop it's a bit big, so The main thing is because it's not a PVA, it's I don't know what they use in the mixture with the glue, but it does dry really quickly, which is a bit of a godsend when you're trying to work at, a bit quicker than normal. And I think that's the time now, just go, right, it looks a bit of a mess, but don't try and touch it, don't try and change it, don't do anything to it. Just walk away, have your lunch, and let it dry naturally. I might give it a quick, it's got a bit of glue on top of the sleepers, so I might just give it another quick go over, and we'll just leave it to dry, and hopefully all that glue will sort of will seep into the ballast, will soak into the ballast, and dry nice and like a nice matte colour. Then it'll dry everything and hold everything in place. So we need to give it a good hour to do its job.
Okay, so paint cleaned, and now
yeah. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to add a wash. So all this is the water, a tiny bit of black paint, but just it's a very thin, again like we did with the airbrushing. And all I'm done is paint it on to the end.
okay, yeah,
wagon.
Yeah.
So we'll let that dry back, but then hopefully the paint will sink into all the grooves in the woodwork. So just really is a case of
Okay, yeah.
chuck it all on. So where we had the pink over the lettering, it sort of takes that back some degree.
Yeah.
But again, you've got that.
Yeah.
That sort of aged, weathered, used look. And again, it's you can just sort of. It's not looking for perfect. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking just to. And you can just manipulate it then. Because it's mainly water, and the paint's very thin. It will just sink into the grooves.
Yeah.
And as it dries back, we'll get the.
Faded.
Yeah, you sort of work it into the grooves. But again, very easy, simple technique. But you get a nice effect. And it depends on how grimy you want to add. The darker the colour, the more grimy it's going to look. So if you're worried about it, just use a colour like a shade darker than the item. So if you use like a slightly darker brown on the brake van, then it wouldn't stand out as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
nice.
it just adds that tiny little bit extra detail to it. I would do the same with the brake van now. But the main thing is you want it to be a really thin mixture.
You don't have to be too precise with it, which is
no, just
nice.
sort of let the capillary action of the paint sort of soak into the woodwork. Might be getting a bit too thin now. Fix the paint now. It's run out of water. Also, I added a tiny bit of isopropyl alcohol in, really just to speed up the drying time. So sort of we could do the roof as well. So again, thinking of how the so you sort of do you want to go that way,
Right.
so you get streaking across
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
with rain, and that should dry back to like sort of
Yeah, give it
streaks. Again, it's just a case of let it dry back, and then we'll get the dirty brown on next, and carry on.
All right, nice. That's it. All those little fine details
Just
that
the
just add to it,
the
don't
subtle
they? Yeah.
subtleties that make the difference. And what we're going to do with the coal load, I'm not going to fill the wagon with coal. I'm going to give it just a slight sprinkle of coal,
Yeah.
so it looks like it's been sort of emptied.
Yeah. Oh God, no, I'm into this, Andy. I think this is something I might have to try myself.
You're going to have to do yourself now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be
Just
you're gonna be
whiling away the weekend.
you're going to be shopping in the shop, spending your wages before you get them. So yeah, we've got a bit of a grimy wagon now starting to get. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my glue. So my basting glue, which I used on the ballast.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run some glue. Not fill the wagon, but I just want to go run around the corners. There, it's there.
Oh yeah.
I do the same. There. Like that.
Yep.
Where's my coal? There, so the coal. So okay, so that's interesting. So it's an authentic product. It's quite so it's proper coal, which is good.
Okay, see.
See, proper stuff. But it adds
Probably not enough to make your
wouldn't heat-
stove at home go.
heat.
but-
We need to heat the house, but
Yeah.
but again, the good thing with real coal is you've got different colours.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and
so all I'm going to do is chuck it in there.
oh yeah,
Let it.
it looks a bit like a crushed certain biscuit that has a white centre in it. It's a sandwich biscuit.
Yeah, famous American biscuit.
Yeah.
But we have in milk.
Yeah, yeah.
The idea is just to run that round there like that.
Yeah,
So we've just got that bit of. So you don't need much.
yeah.
Really.
Yeah, that's good.
And what we do is then we just use the spray bottle.
Yep.
Again, ideally do this until the paint is fully dry.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll leave that to
dry.
dry. And there it is.
Yeah. It does make a difference, doesn't it, having something in that.
Just gives it
wagon.
a bit of interest
Yeah.
now when it's going round. And ideally you'd have, if you got a rake of these, you'd have some that are full, some that are empty, some, if you're the coal merchant, you'd be pretty fed up with the guy who...
Yeah, yeah. I was
who's,
also going to say, if you did want it full, but obviously you didn't want to use all of it, you could just put something inside.
Yeah, just do get a
with
piece
a
of like,
foam
little
or
plastic card or foam to the right size, raise it up to the height you want, and then give it a nice sort of prototypical shape.
Oh.
But it just
Yeah, all right.
it just adds a tiny bit of interest
Yeah,
to the wagon, and hopefully again once it dries, it will dry back that matte finish, and then you'll get that bit of sparkle from the coal as it goes along. But there you go, there we go.
Brilliant.
We've got a wagon. So we'll clean the airbrush again,
Yeah.
and let's get back onto the dio and
Yeah.
let's get cracking and get it finished.
Nice. Right, so we've got ballast is almost there.
It's
right?
getting slowly drying off now. It's it's workable.
Yeah,
Still got to be careful.
we've added our water tower. Again, just to preface this, it's very quick that we're putting you on a time limit here, Andy, aren't we? So normally, you know, you take a little longer and you make sure your balance is completely dry and everything's right. But we're going to do now. We're going to move on to.
I've got some brown scatter, so
Yep.
I'm going to do some brown down around the track.
Yep.
And then we're going to come in with some greens, and then we're going to do some static grass. I think just to give it that. Sort of trying to give it a bit more of an overgrown look.
Yeah.
Maybe put some hedges, some bushes there.
Yeah.
So I've got some.
Liching or lichen, whichever
Yeah,
one you
whichever
want
one
to.
you
Yeah,
use,
you can
but
tell us in the
I'm
comments whether we get it right or not.
I'm going to add some leaves to that.
Okay, brilliant.
Make it pop.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then you've got brown, and then do you think you'll use the green or?
I probably won't. I might use a
Put that
bit,
aside.
but
Oh,
might
well,
use
you
the
leave it on your side
yeah,
there, just in case you.
But I just want to get that bit more of an overgrown. But I want to get some soil down first, so we've got some texture to go under the grass, so it gives it some of a look.
And then while you're doing that, I'm going to try and give these chimneys on the thing a little bit of a paint. Test out my painting skills.
So again, just using basting glue just to give a.
So obviously, the today's event is all about mental health and well-being and things, and we kind of briefly had a chat, kind of off camera, and we were talking about anxiety, which is something that I'm sure a lot of people at home experience on various different levels. I know myself, I experience it a lot. Do you find that something that you deal with?
It's one of these things that sort of sneaks upon you when you don't think about it, and the strangest times really. A couple of weeks ago, I went up Snowdon, and I haven't done Snowdon for climbed a mountain for a few years with COVID, and
Yeah.
and a couple of times I got to places where a bit of exposure, a bit of and all of a sudden you think, can I do this still? Am I still last time I went up, I got a chest infection. I wasn't well enough.
Oh wow.
And I was proper ill, but I didn't know I was ill. So it was a proper struggle. So to all of a sudden, to find myself back on a mountain on the same route that I did last time, which I really struggled with, it took a bit of sort of talking to yourself, saying, look, you can do this. You've got it. Because it'd be quite easy to sort of turn around and sort of stop and go back down again. But
Yeah.
it's it's a bit of mental.
Well, that's it, isn't
mental
it?
confidence really, just to think, I can do this. And I suppose the same with modelling really. It's just there's times when you think I can't do it. This is above my skill level.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to stop and take stock, look at what you've done before,
Yeah.
and go, I can do it. And again, sometimes when you've got friends around you, clubs, or especially if you work in these sort of environments, Hornby, there's plenty of people that can support you.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's something I've noticed a lot about, talking to people for this event, is how beneficial the social side of things is, and that not everyone is a social creature, so to speak, in the traditional terms, but being around people that share your interests and that have a common love of something is quite something. I mean, I've got friends. I'm an avid fan of professional wrestling, the American style, and I've got friends, and we've bonded over that, and it's something you can always talk about, and it's something that other people maybe don't particularly have an interest in, so it's kind of niche in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think you, as someone who experiences anxiety in the sense of that there's nothing necessarily causing the anxiety as such. You know, I'm not anxious about doing something, much like you were saying, you're anxious about going up, but mine tends to be just that feeling of anxiety, I suppose, as if something bad's going to happen or something like that. And I'm very much a doer, someone that likes to just get on, do things. If I sat and think too much, then that's where things crop up for me. And I think having done this job now for 4.5 years and having spoken to people, modelling, hobbies in general are exactly that. You're doing something and you're kind of, I don't want to say tricking your brain because that kind of diminishes it, but just diverting it a little bit so that you get a bit of perspective, and then your body just kind of, and your body kind of settles down and you go, okay, no, it's okay, it's fine, you know, you can do this, you have done this, you know, this climb before or this part of your hobby or whatever. And yeah, the old adage of you're your own worst enemy sometimes can be very, very true.
You know, it's the problem is with a lot of mental health issues. It's not obvious to other people.
No.
And people don't. Only you know what you're going through.
Yeah.
And it's something you need to, you know, like I said, talking is a great way.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's good that it's now sort of. It's more of a. Again, I don't need to say I'm wrong, but like a mainstream thing now where people are talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not sort of.
It's not as taboo now, is it?
No, it's not sort of the old, you know, lock you away in a padded cell and.
Or don't talk about it.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's that sort of.
I think because the world in general is such a different place to even 10 years ago. You know, things like. We've mentioned it a few times in the various different things we've had for the event, but social media is almost the elephant in the room, really, because it has a lot to answer for people thinking less of themselves, like self-esteem, higher, kind of holding themselves accountable for a lot more, you know, image, everything from image to, you know, even with modelling, you might see someone's layout that they've done. Wow, I could never do that, you know. But they're not going to put up on their social media the times they went wrong, or the, you know, the things. It's the same with. I love films, and I've done my own films. I've worked on my own films, and at the end of the day, no one sees the final. You know, you no one's seen the 8 cuts of, I don't know, of The Godfather before, where there was problems with it and it didn't quite work right. They just see the final product, and that's what they want you to see. And I think social media tends to be exactly that, a very edited version of life.
Absolutely, but sometimes I like to put the mistakes in because it shows that you're human.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, some of the channel, again, not criticism, but a lot of channels are very polished. Which are good because you get a really nice professional content, but sometimes it's just nice to see where it wasn't polished and it's not perfect.
Well, maybe that's why people like watching my videos, where I'm getting it wrong all the time.
But don't you think you learn more from making mistakes than you learn?
Oh yeah, 100%.
From everything being perfect.
Exactly, and that's almost a double-edged sword in that you might be anxious about not doing it to the best of your ability, and actually you want to not do it to the best of your ability at first, and you'll go, okay, well, I did that didn't quite work, but next time, because there'll always be a next time.
Absolutely.
You can give it another go.
And that's the good thing about practicing on these little, but again, giving Martin a bit of a plug. But these little baseboards, and because lots of people do them, you know, if you get a little baseboard, if you make a mistake and you make a complete cluster of it, you just replace. You know, you get another baseboard and you start again, and it's like a blank canvas, and we learn from what mistakes we made, and hopefully get it right next time.
Yeah. And do you think being part of a club and things has helped you in any way with dealing with any stresses of just general day-to-day life? And
I think it's just that again, like you said, it's just that place where you can go and have a chat, and you can talk to people, and it's again, we're very sociable creatures, aren't we? So it's just nice to go along, and some guys just go to the club for a cup of tea and a biscuit, and it might be the only time they if they live at home on their own, or it's that bit of a release from, if they're caring for somebody, they can come out and talk to people, and just that environment where you can sort of relax and
and it's interesting that when I've spoken to people, I guess because we're looking at how positive hobbies can be for mental health and well-being, that I've asked a lot of people the same question, and I guess I'll probably ask you the same thing. What does hobbies, what does model railways mean to you, and why do you like it? And a lot of people struggle to answer it because they just like it and they just love it. They're passionate about it, and I guess when you do love something so much, you don't even think about it, do you? You just I just like it. Something about it just.
For me, it takes me back to my childhood.
I've heard that a lot. Yeah.
Carefree, as long as I got me £5 a week pocket money. Or, it's you weren't not caring the world. You just could go. I suppose again, I'd jump on the train and go somewhere and and come back. As long as you're back before the street lights are on at night. That was the only sort of there's only the only stipulation I had really.
But like you said there, it's quite interesting that for you it's going back to childhood when you didn't have those stresses. So it brings peace, I suppose, like you had when you were younger and you didn't have all the mortgage, all the electricity bills and things like this that you've got to think about, and you could just enjoy something.
Absolutely, and I suppose there's a time when there's no pressure then, because there's you just do it for your own enjoyment, and again before social media, so social media is great because it's been such a learning aid. There's so many things, if you don't know how to do it, you just go on Google, YouTube, and somebody somewhere has done it before.
And generally, when you're modelling, obviously you're saying that if you don't know something, you'll go on YouTube or Google it or anything like that, but do you tend to put your phone somewhere away from where you are so that you can focus? Or because I've heard a few people, they like to completely almost detach themselves from modern technology and things so they can have some time away from it.
My desktop's on my modelling desk.
Oh, okay,
so
right. Definitely not then.
No, there's the chances are I have
bit of music on.
No, I have you on in the background.
Oh God! Thank you. Podcasts.
Always keep listening to what Hornby are doing, and it's also just again being, I suppose it's because of the exhibition we do. We've got to we try and be current of what's going on, what's in the Hornby are a major sponsor of our event, and you're a big supporter of our event at the NEC. So again, whenever we can, it's my way of keeping in touch with you guys and see what's going on, and we always, I know Paul and Nigel. We all try and keep aware of what's going on in the industry. So
that's one of the things we like to do, is get involved with the community and things like that, and people at home and events like this, and we are such a big name in the industry and things like that, but ultimately it's a collective of people that are passionate about what they do here, and we're lucky enough to have an audience that are really passionate about what we do and what they do. So for me personally, as someone who's come in front of the camera and things like that, and a novice, it's been really nice to see how open that community is. And again, a lot of people that we've spoken to and interviewed, they've said exactly that. You know, for them, the community and how open they are and how inviting they are, and that everyone's sort of, you know, happy to see each other at events and things like that. And that's such a big part of a hobby, I think.
How did you adapt to being on face camera?
Well, luckily I didn't have to do too much of that thing, because I tried my hardest to be an actor. Always wanted to be an actor when I was growing up, and just never made it. A certain Channel 4 soap was about as close as I almost got to being on. And so I'd always done it. I did it as a kid and stuff like that. That was my big, much like you were saying about model railways, mine was Dad showing me a VHS, showing my age a little bit there, and me loving that side of things and wanting to play characters and things. And then that didn't work out, so I moved behind the camera and I did things in front of camera when I needed to, and came here. And one of the first things that Simon said was, you know, we want more of a face. We want someone there that to show that we're not just this yellow and red logo that you know, and much like how he is at shows and has always been, and Montana is at shows and things, that's someone that can just do it. And obviously everyone's so busy here. Trying to organise everyone, as I'm sure you know, sometimes is very, very difficult. So I said, well, I don't mind being in front of the cameras. I don't know, you know, as much as the people at home know, but as I've gone along, if I look back to where I was 4 years ago to where I am now, where you know, I understand a lot more about model railways and, you know, getting to do things like this. I've adapted. I think even if you went back and watched the first sort of signal boxes and things, you'd see my confidence develop over those years. So yeah, and it's been nice going. I've been to a couple of events and people have come up and said, you know, and it's, you know, it's not, you know, you don't want to be like, I'll sign an autograph, but it's nice to know that people are watching and that they actually like it, because ultimately
enjoy your content.
That's what you want, isn't it?
Definitely,
I've been talking your ear off, but you've really move it out of the way so they can see a little bit. Oh wow! I've also done the painting job's not the best. See that? It's a little bit gloopy, a little bit.
Yeah, I think that one looks a bit better. So
what would be your tip then for me if I'm doing that again? What have I maybe done?
The paint is probably a bit too thick. So it probably just needs watering down slightly. Yeah. What you want to do is, when you put the paint on thin coat, the thinner the coat, the better the coverage, and you don't want it to dry as soon as you put the paint on the plastic, because you want it to self level. That's very shiny at the moment, so we need to get something on there. Probably give it a matte coat, not just the chimney, but
just in general.
The woodwork is a bit shiny because it's probably a bit too thin, the paint.
Okay.
But it just made it easy to airbrush and quicker to get on. So we could give it a matte coat. I still like to do something with the colours and just to tone it, give the brand a bit more of a, so it's not just a solid colour. But we can look at that once we get. I just want to get a bit more of this sort of this done. So like I said, just give it a basic ground cover. We're going to give it a quick spray without sort of. So the idea is that should pull the glue from underneath, draw it up through the into the product. That we put on. So it just gives it a bit more of a rough.
So at the moment it looks very much like there's been a downpour. It's been a wet afternoon on this one. So Andy, I left you to work your magic for a little while, and I've come back and
it's a bit different.
It's really impressive.
So what we've done, we've added painted the ladder in there, done some work to the trees, added a bit of a hedge across the back. Your lynching is there,
nice.
tidied up the building, so give it again, like we did with the build, the water tank, we just took away that sort of bland, straight, flat colour.
Yep.
So to give it a bit of life, we've added some chimney pot, and what we're going to do now is, I don't know if you've seen one of these before. This is what's called a static grass applicator.
Okay.
So it puts charge into the grass. So when you put it down, it sort of stands up. And
Oh wow.
so the idea with grass is generally working. I work on small grass to higher grass, so 2 mil, 4 mil. So we'll start with the 2 mil grass. We'll put some grass. We've got some. This is what's called layering spray.
Right.
So a lot of people use hairspray.
Oh, okay.
The only part, because it's a lacquer. The only thing with hairspray is designed to last 24 hours.
Right.
So it can dry out over use and it can start to
There you go. Yeah.
disintegrate. The idea with the layering spray, it will last longer.
Okay.
But it is just a glue.
Yeah.
So just like a. So what we want to do is we'll get some again WWS applicator. They've provided all the grass for us to use today. So just really a case of get some grass into your into the applicator. You don't want to go too. You want the grass to be able to move around inside the applicator.
Right.
But it's not sort of so you don't want to fill it up to the top. Again, popping messy modeler. So what we're going to do is we'll get the we'll do this bit here first.
Yep.
So we'll try and keep it away from where we don't want the grass, but we're just cased of get it on, power on, and then just a case of
Look at that.
and hopefully that should be standing up.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, we lost a tree.
lost a tree. Yeah, so we need a bit more glue on that bit there. But then hopefully you can start to see we've got some height now in the grass.
Yeah, yeah.
And just work our way. Wonderful.
Yeah, it definitely adds realism to
Absolutely. And you
the
can
graphs.
the problem is again because everything is still quite damp. The glue's going to stick. The grass will stick to where there's glue.
Yeah.
Normally you'd sort of you'd let everything fully dry before you go too mad. But again, I think today it's more about giving people ideas rather than
exactly. Yeah,
being
yeah.
a perfect
Definitely.
a perfect model.
Yeah, as we said before, we're giving you quite a short time frame to do it, but
And you can go back over the same area and use 2 millimetre on top of 2 millimetre. You get 4 millimetre, so it makes it the grass longer.
oh yeah, yeah.
So you get that sort of
Mm.
Smoky Joe's going to
You
get
get some grass on
the
it,
grass
yeah,
on
yeah.
it. Just down here. You have to take it off there. And you can see you get that sort of
Yeah,
more of a three-dimensional sort of look.
yeah.
If you want to be really clever, you can. That's where we've got the track. Put some glue in there. Again, don't want to don't want to get it on top of the sleepers. You want to get it in between the sleepers.
Yeah.
But we'll before it sort of. There you go. And it would just let that dry. So you've got that bit of grass coming up through the ballast where there's no trains moving or no movement. So it just gives that effect that it's starting to grow through.
Yeah, it does make a difference, definitely.
Maybe forget to the bag of ballast. We could give it a bit of ballast around.
Yeah, what colour was it?
Was that silvery?
Is it limestone? Brown?
No, it was like a silvery grey. So you've been too efficient and tidy. Oh, there we go. Sorry. There you go.
Oh, look.
So yeah,
Hit it.
efficiency and tidiness. So we just go back in and.
Oh, just like to
So it looks like the grass is growing
through
the ballast rather than the ballast on. Okay, we've got the dropper. Give it do we give that a quick spray of the water?
Yeah.
Just give it a quick spray. Perfect. See what teamwork that is?
Yeah. Master
Sprayer.
sprayer.
And what we could do then is now we've got sort of the 2mm on, we could go back with a 4mm,
Yeah.
which is slightly longer. And we won't put lots down. We'll just give it just in certain places. We'll give it a quick.
Bit of extra.
Just give it a bit of height. And then you can. This is where you could, if you want to spend the time, you use different colours, different shades. Because again, even when you look at just outside there, you can see there's more than just one shade of green. It's not, grass isn't just.
You've got like some yellow and things like that, haven't you?
So again, we just sort of a bit there, put it in.
I guess depending on how kind of detailed you want to get, you can where people have walked and things like that. I suppose you could do, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Where people walk, it'd be sort of trodden down and.
definitely, yeah. That's a bit harder in, because you might imagine a footprint would probably be less.
Yeah.
But you can manipulate the grass and give it sort of. There we go.
Yeah.
So I think that might. It's no when to stop now. It's because you can keep adding more and more to it. And
No, I think if you're happy, then it's locos on and backboard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So
let's do it.
Have a quick tidy up and then
let's
come back and have a look at it.
Definitely. Right, so here we are, the finished or semi-finished, I suppose, from a perfectionist point of view. But I mean, you've completed this in what? 8 hours, 6 hours, six.
About 6. Well, it's 10 to 4 now, so
yeah,
it's probably about 11 o'clock when we started.
Yeah, so 5 hours-ish, which is a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
To pull something together, but I think that's we've spoken about what hobbies can do, and that time flies. And I think I've certainly enjoyed myself. Hopefully,
it's been fantastic.
You've enjoyed it and got to see different techniques in just this small space. Yeah. Any sort of final thoughts you have looking at it?
Yeah, there's things I'd like to have more time to let things dry properly, and but I think what we've done in the time is really good. But the most important thing is that we've had fun. And, we've had we've really enjoyed it. Spending time down here, and thanks so much for the invite.
No, thank you.
And thank you for for letting Wally take part in
It's
your
a pleasure,
in your
to have
day.
you here. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people at home
Yeah,
that may be watching?
Yeah, if you've got a local model railway club, get in contact with them, go along, see what they do. If you live in the Birmingham area, West Midlands area, come and see us at Worley. We've got the Hornby Project we're working on.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago for the 2019 show, probably about this time, 2019, I spoke to Montana and I said about, shall we get some Hornby products, some, the station buildings, platforms, and we'll build a bit of a station for, to show what you can do with Hornby products. So I got those and I put plastic art on them, painted them, similar sort of techniques to what we did here today, and they look really, really good. And then the whole of last year, I had this 5 foot by 18-inch baseboard in my kitchen,
right?
And I just couldn't walk. I was like, every time you turn around, this Hornby Project was under my feet, and I couldn't go anywhere because we were locked down.
Yeah.
So, sort of earlier in the year, I was talking to Simon. I said, we need to do something with this project. What should we do? And he said, well, I can have it here, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And then we got talking and bouncing ideas around, and then obviously you're talking about the new visitor centre. I said, well, why don't we have a permanent layout in the visitor centre? So Wally will provide the layout. Yeah. You provide the stock, and I'll weather it for you. And we're talking about different eras and trying to keep it. So youngsters, we want something interactive for kids, but just so youngsters can relate to it, we're going to try and do HSD sets, but modern HSDs. So Great Western, little castle sets. But it's really to have a permanent display.
Down here,
So
and so have you been sharing publicly that process online, or are you planning to?
But the problem is, again, because we've not been in the club, it's sort of the last couple of months we've just been, all we're doing so far is building baseboards. So I've got some pictures we can throw in, into the video, and but we've got baseboards built now. We've got which are all built up. They're on legs, so we've got different heights. We've got the station section in one side. It'll go around and we have like a bit of a tunnel, and it'll go around to have like a beach scene. So anyone who knows Devon, it's a bit like a bit of a homage to Dawlish Seawall and Teignmouth. So we have some beach huts and beach. We can have a lovely grand suspension bridge. So we've got the baseboards drop down. So we have like an estuary, and then we'll come round to the other side where we're gonna have like a diesel maintenance depot.
Right. Oh, wow.
So it should be just good fun. But the thing is, if anyone wants to build a model railway, they're not sure how to do it, come along to Worley. You can get involved, and it's your chance to for your work to be on display down here in Margate. So it really is going to be an educational piece, so people can come along and play. And you're welcome, if you're in the Midlands, come down and have a play. Spend an afternoon with us if you want to come down.
I'll give it a go. These hands, as much as they can, they'll try and get involved.
And again, it's not about. Obviously, we want a nice piece for display, but it's also about enjoying it. And hopefully, when it's built, it'll be interactive, so there'll be lights to switch on, and it's just going to be fun.
Oh, fantastic!
Especially with the new HM 6000. We've got that, so we'd have tablets and a van somewhere. I've got to try and make it work, but we'd obviously be able to control the trains. So it should be just good fun.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, again, thank you so much for being here, for doing this. We sprung this on you, and just in general for Worley, for being involved in Mind the Gap, the first one we've done, and hopefully we continue to do more in the future. For now, me and Andy we'll say goodbye, and we'll leave you with some shots of Andy's layout, which is named
Simon's Halt, I think.
Simon's Halt. There you go. So thank you again, Andy. And
it's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for the invite, and look forward to working with you again in the future.
Enjoy the close-ups, everyone.